Welcome, everyone. We'll get started here in just a couple minutes. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Tuesday webinar called Technology at Iowa. My name is Suzette Blanchard, and I work as an Assistant Director in Orientation Services. Our webinar series features presentations by many different campus offices throughout the summer. You can see all of our webinars available and register for them on Orientation Services website. We'll be utilizing the live Q&A feature during this presentation. So if you have questions, please type it in the Q&A chat function, and our team will work to answer questions throughout the chat. There will also be an opportunity at the end of the presentation where we can have our presenter answer questions live. If you want to access this material after today's presentation, you can find the link to our YouTube page on Orientation Services website, newstudents.uiowa.edu. At this time, I'd like to introduce my campus colleague, Jamie Matthews, representing the Information Technology and Services, or ITS office.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. As Suzette said, my name is Jamie Matthews. I am the IT Director over the ITS Help Desk on campus here at Iowa. Joining me today is Scott Sulzer and Adrian Kuhn. They are also employees of ITS, and they will be assisting with the Q&A. They'll be watching those questions as they come in. I do want to try to answer as many questions as I can live, so I'll be trying to watch that as well. So you feel free to chat those questions at your convenience as you think of things as we go through this. So during our time today, we are going to be discussing our walk-in location in the University Capitol Center. That is what us local Iowa Cityans refer to as the Old Capitol Mall. Our walk-in location is located on the second floor. We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss what we do in that location. We're going to be talking about Hawk IDs and account access for students, email and Office 365. So, and we will be discussing frequently asked questions, and we have a list of important links at the end of this presentation. After this webinar today, this recorded webinar will be on our YouTube page, like Suzette mentioned. We will also have a PDF of this presentation. So we want you to go out and download this presentation from the Orientation Services website so that you will have all of the links that we refer to during our time today. They will be very helpful links for our students. So we highly recommend going out to the Orientation Services website after this and downloading our presentation. And then you can watch this webinar again after we get done today. This will be uploaded to that page as well. Okay, first thing we're going to discuss today is Hawk IDs and account access. So as new students come to campus, as soon as they are accepted at the university, the first thing that they will get is their Hawk ID. It is normally some variation of their first and last name, like Joe Smith would be J Smith. We want to make sure that students understand how to change their password. This website, hawkid.uiowa.edu, is for students to be able to go out and test their password, make sure that they know what their password is. They can change their password. So we just want to make sure that they understand that that site is available for their convenience. Students' contact information is already in MyUI, and we want to make sure that students do not use their parents' email address or phone numbers. We're going to talk about this thing called two-step login a little bit later. It's a multi-factor authentication system that we use. That will not work if their parents' email address or phone numbers are located in MyUI. So we'll talk about that more in a minute here. We also want to make sure that students understand that they will use their Hawk ID. They will not need to use their university ID number for practically anything. The other question that we get a lot is once students enroll for courses, that's when they will have access to almost all of our services on campus for students. So a lot of things will not work for students until they are enrolled in courses. And they will be logging into almost every service that we have on campus with their Hawk ID and their Hawk ID password. Okay, parent guest IDs. This is a question that we get a lot at the help desk. Parents can call us. You can call us, you can email us, you can live chat us with any questions that you have as well. But this is probably the most popular question that we get from parents. Students, when they become University of Iowa students, they can give a parent or any guest access to their UBIL information, their admissions profile, their course schedule, their grades, anything that they have in the financial aid system. It's a pretty easy process where students log into MyUI and they send an invitation to their parent or guest to have access to this. The question that we get from parents is they call us and they tell us, my student sent me the invitation, I got my account created, I got logged in, I can't see anything. In MyUI, students have to check these boxes to give their parent or their guest access. So that's a little tip for you and your student. If you get your guest ID set up, you get logged in, you can't see anything, it's because your student did not check those check boxes. So we want you to be aware of that, and students can go in and correct that at any time. Okay, when I talked earlier about two-step login, I think most of us are aware of a tool called multi-factor authentication. When you log into your bank account every day, it'll prompt you and say, we're going to send you a code to your cell phone, or you can receive that code in a phone call. Two-step login, almost all students are already enrolled in this. What we want them to be aware of is they should use the Duo mobile app. The service that we use for multi-factor authentication is Duo. And like I said, they can receive a phone call or a text, but your phone number can be spoofed. So the Duo mobile app is the most secure way to use this service. And if you go out to that website, Duo-mobile, you will find instructions for how to install and use the app. So we highly recommend that, and we want students to do that. So if they have any questions, once they're like trying to switch to the app, they can call the help desk, they can email us, they can live chat us, and we will help them with any questions that they have about anything. All right, no questions yet. Okay, let's keep going. Email and Office 365. So in high school, most students use the Google ecosystem. So they have their Gmail accounts, their Google Drive. At the university, we use Microsoft. So it's basically the same thing as the Google ecosystem. It's just a Microsoft product. Students will be using this their entire college career. So we want to make sure that they understand they should be going out to office365.uiowa.edu. They should be doing that right now. They are responsible for checking their university email. So we want to make sure that they are getting logged in to Office 365 right now. When they go out there, they will notice that they have access to OneDrive. OneDrive is very similar to Google Drive, where you can store all your documents there. Students have 1 terabyte of online storage for free with Microsoft 365. So we want to make sure that they take advantage of that. It is no longer necessary to have a huge hard drive on your laptop or your computer because they get this 1 terabyte of storage for free. And all of these services will be available for 2 years after graduation. Okay, we got a question in the chat, and I'm just going to stop for a second and just answer that right now, even though Scott is typing an answer. So when students first get the question is, what is the 30-day grace period for two-factor authentication? When students first get their Hawk ID, when they are admitted to the university, they have 30 days to get enrolled in two-factor authentication. So more than likely that 30 days is already up and they're already registered. So if they haven't enrolled yet, we definitely want to get them enrolled as soon as possible because that protects their online identity and it protects their account. And when they enroll in two-factor authentication, we call that two-step login. We want them to use the option of the Duo app because that is the most secure way to use our two-step login service. Excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. Okay, back to Microsoft 365. So students have access to this right now. They will retain access through their entire college career. They will still have access for 2 years after graduation. When they log into Office 365, they can check their email. They can use all of the Microsoft Office products, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, all those great things. And we want them to be checking their email right now. Also, when they go out to Microsoft 365, they will see that there is an option to download the full suite of Microsoft Office products on up to 5 devices. So this is very expensive if you have to go out and buy this. This is absolutely free for students. So this is something that they can be doing right now before they come to campus. Again, when they go out and download Microsoft 365, they can download it on their laptop, on their tablet, they can download it on a computer at home. So we want to make sure that they do this now. If they have any questions about this, they can call the help desk, and I'll give you all of our contact information in just a minute here, but they can call the help desk and we will help them get this installed. I will say, when they log in to office365.uiowa.edu, the online versions of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, they do not offer the full functionality that you get when you download all the apps. So we want to make sure that they are actually downloading the apps because it is free. And again, if you had to go out and pay for this, this is expensive. So this is a nice perk for students. All right, no questions that I can see. So we are going to keep moving along. Okay, so Outlook. So this is one, when you log into Office 365, you're going to see that students can check their email online through Office 365. Okay, we want them to download the Outlook app on their laptop or their mobile devices, tablets, whatever, because this is a safe and secure way for them to check their email, because the Outlook app is the only app that is compatible with our two-step login, that multi-factor authentication that we just spoke about a minute ago, that Duo app. So we highly encourage students to use the Outlook app. They'll always log in with hawkid@uiowa.edu, and more information about anything that they need to know about email can be found at that new email URL. So again, just a little plug for going out to the Orientation Services website after this is over with and downloading these slides so that you have all of these URLs that you can share with your student if your student is not in attendance today. Okay, networking and computer labs. We're going to talk about this next because this is very, very important for students to know. When your student comes on campus for orientation, we want them to get connected to Eduroam right away. Eduroam is our wireless network that is the most safe and secure for students. Faculty and staff also use Eduroam. Anyone that has a Hawk ID on campus should be using the Eduroam wireless network. Eduroam stands for education roaming. Almost every college, higher education institution across the United States and around the world, almost everyone uses Eduroam. As a University of Iowa student, if they were to go visit another campus in another location, they can connect to that other campus's Eduroam service with their University of Iowa Hawk ID. So this is a very safe and secure wireless network. They will connect with their Hawk ID at uiowa.edu and their password. More information about how to connect can be found at that Eduroam-Connect website. So one thing I want to make sure that students understand, do not use the guest network. It won't work for half of the things that students will need access to, because UI Guest is designed for parents, friends, anyone that is on campus that does not have a Hawk ID should be using UI Guest. A lot of students will call the help desk and they'll be, I can't get access to the service. The first question we always ask them is, are you connected to Eduroam? Because UI Guest is just for temporary, short-term use. It will not work for students. So we want to make sure that students do not use it. Several years ago, our network engineers really gave up the fight and they created a separate network just for gaming devices and streaming consoles. I don't know, I guess gaming is important for students. I don't get it, but gaming consoles and streaming devices can't connect to Eduroam because you have to authenticate with your Hawk ID. So our network engineers created a separate network just for smart TVs, Xbox, all your PlayStation devices, all of those things. So if a student is going to live on campus, and if they are planning to bring these devices to campus, they will need to go to that Device-Connect website for instructions on how to connect their smart TV, their Fire Stick, their Roku, how to connect all of those things to UI DeviceNet. I don't know, maybe you should tell your student to do their homework. They shouldn't be gaming. Also, one thing about wireless, any students that are living on campus should never ever bring a wireless router to campus. If you plug one in any of our dorms on campus, it will immediately be shut down. It's considered a rogue device, and our security team does not allow wireless routers on campus. So if your student is living off campus, they will need one. But in the residence halls on campus, do not bring one because it will not work. All right, so it looks like our Q&A is kind of quiet, so I'm just going to keep going here. Okay, instructional technology centers. So actually, okay, really quick, we just got a question. Should they connect their phone to the DeviceNet to stream Hulu? Their phone can connect to Eduroam, so they should not need to do that. Good question. Okay, moving right along. Instructional technology centers. What these are is our computer labs located all across campus. You know, this day and age, most students have a laptop, some sort of a laptop or tablet. So you think, oh, I bet you these computer labs aren't really that popular. Actually, they're still very popular because a lot of these computer labs on campus will have special software installed depending on the location. Like, for example, the computer lab, the ITC that's located in the Siemens Center, which is the engineering building, it's going to have special software that engineering students will need. So we want students to be aware of these ITCs because these ITCs will give them access to specific software titles. So if you go to that website, you can find where all the ITCs are located, and you can see what software titles are installed on which computer labs. Also, these computer labs all contain printers. So most students don't bring printers to campus anymore. Printers are expensive. You have to pay for the paper, you have to pay for the toner, you have to keep the printers updated. So we really don't recommend students bring printers to campus anymore, because if they do need to print, they can print in these ITC locations, and there are a lot of them all around campus. There are several residence halls that have computer labs as well. Also, the price to print, yes, there is a charge to print, but as you can see, it's very inexpensive, and most students really don't print anymore anyway. But if they're that type of person, they really want that piece of paper in their hand, that's what the printers in the ITCs are for. We want them to take advantage of that service. If your student lives in a residence hall, and if that residence hall happens to have a computer lab, one service that we provide that is very popular is called WebPrint. What that allows a student to do is, in their dorm room, from their laptop, they can send something to print to a printer in the ITC in the residence hall. They can leave their room, run down to the ITC, log into a print release station, print their job, grab their papers, and away they go. That is a very, I mean, whilst most students don't print, the students that do print, that's a very popular service. So again, we just want them to be aware that that is an option. Okay, our ITS website, its.uiowa.edu. Almost any service that we provide on campus has support information on that website. We want our new students to be aware of that website so they can go out and search for any information that they may need. For example, if they go out to that website, they can search, how do I connect my smart TV to DeviceNet? How do I connect to Eduroam? There are step-by-step instructions for almost everything on that website. The other thing we want students to be aware of is our alerts page, that /alerts website. If they are on campus and let's say they're trying to log into Icon, maybe they're getting some error message. If they go out to that alerts page, if there's any problem with any service that we have on campus, they'll be able to, we will post that on that page, and they'll be able to get all the details that they need about any services that might be having an issue. So we want our students to be aware of that alerts page. That doesn't happen often, but if it does happen, it's really handy for students to know about that, so they can quickly figure out exactly what the problem is. All right, this is a kind of a quiet bunch today. I'm going to keep going. So this is literally a photograph of our walk-in area on the second floor of the University Capitol Center. Again, us local Iowa City residents, we call it Old Capitol Mall because that's what it used to be, Old Capitol Mall. So our walk-in area is open Monday through Thursday until 6 p.m. We are open until 5 p.m. on Fridays. But what we want students to understand, if they have any problem with their laptop, their tablet, their cell phone, they can come to our walk-in area and we will help them for absolutely free. There is no cost to help them with their devices. If they're struggling to connect to a service, if their laptop is filled with viruses and their laptop isn't working correctly, worst case scenario, they can bring us their laptop, they check it in with us for a couple of days. Worst case, we will wipe the hard drive and reinstall the operating system. I mean, there are some students that have that problem. So we want them to understand that our services are absolutely free. The only thing that we do not do is hardware support. So if they bring their laptop to us and we're helping them with their laptop and we figure out that their hard drive is bad, like maybe they need a new hard drive, we will tell them we will help them find a location where they can get it fixed. There's a lot of service providers in the Iowa City area. There's one downtown that's very popular. Of course, we have Best Buy. If your student has a warranty through Dell or HP or Apple, we will help them figure that out. But that's literally the only thing that we don't do is hardware support. Antivirus software that you should install. So literally go out to its.uiowa.edu and search for that, because Windows Defender comes installed free on most PCs. And then for Macs, we recommend an antivirus program called Sophos, Sophos. Sophos is free for Macs. I have a Mac. It's what I use on my Mac. So literally go out to its.uiowa.edu and search that question, and you'll find information on antivirus software that students should be using. Do students need a specific type of laptop? Okay, bio major, pre-dental. That's pretty exciting. You know, that's the biggest question that we get. And when we go through our FAQs in just a second here, that is always the biggest question we get. So I'm going to address that in just a minute. So Elizabeth asked, is that for personal owned computers as well? Yes. So any device that a student owned is going to be personally owned, and we will help them with anything and everything. So we want to make sure that students understand they can call us, they can email us, they can live chat with us, or they can come to our walk-in area and we will help them with all of their devices. Okay, let's talk more about Becky's question about a specific type of laptop, because in our frequently asked questions section, that is the number one question that we always get. My advice, working at ITS and also as a mom, if your student has used a Mac their entire high school career, I would not want them to switch to a PC, because they know Macs. They probably know Macs very well. If your student is very well versed on a Mac, don't buy them a PC. And vice versa. If they are used to a PC, I wouldn't necessarily recommend a Mac. This website out here, the Computer-Specs website, we have some guidance on minimum specs, minimum laptop recommendations. So the one thing I will say that we always recommend, buy as much memory as you can afford. I mean, most people will get 16 gigs of RAM just because apps take a lot of memory. So, but you can find all that information out on that at that website. If your student is an engineering student, or if they are a business student in the Tippie College of Business, they do have information on their web pages on recommendations that they recommend for those students. So definitely check out those links. Also, another reminder, this presentation with all of these links will be on the Orientation Services website after this webinar today. So we want you to definitely go out and download this presentation so you have all of those links. Are there any discounts on computers for University of Iowa students? Excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. So there are discounts for buying computers on campus at the bookstore, but you don't have to use the bookstore. As a University of Iowa student, or actually any student that is going to college, the major manufacturers, Dell, HP, Apple, if you go to their websites, or if you go to Best Buy or any place that sells hardware, be it desktops, laptops, tablets, whatever, they almost always have discounts for students. So we want to make sure that students take advantage of those discounts. The bookstore on campus in the IMU, they also have discounts. Most of the time, I think the discounts are the same, but we definitely recommend checking for those discounts if you are in the market to buy a laptop. I will also say there are thousands of University of Iowa students that do not have a new laptop. If they have any problems with their hardware, if it's older, we will help them. So they, again, just another plug for our services are free. And if they have an older laptop, they can bring it to campus and use it, and we will help them with it if they have any issues. The only thing that we really don't recommend is a Chromebook. A lot of students get a Chromebook during their high school career. They can definitely bring it to campus with them and use it, but there are some services that won't work with a Chromebook, so we don't want students to have a Chromebook as their only device. So there's a handy tip. Okay, frequently asked questions. Again, this presentation is going to be online. I'm not going to discuss all of these FAQs because we want you to go out and look at this presentation. But, do I need to bring a printer to campus? You don't, because printers, I mean, if your student doesn't print very much, it's not expensive. The cost for printing is charged to their U-bill monthly. They will have to pay their U-bill monthly, but it's not that expensive. So we actually think that it's more cost effective to just pay for printing versus bringing a printer to campus. Should I bring a wireless router to campus? Please, no. If you are living in a residence hall, no, it won't work. It will be shut down. If you're living off campus, you will need a wireless router. Every year, Icon Direct, which is our service for electronic textbooks, gets a little bit more popular than the previous year. I think students really, really like the discounts you can get through electronic textbooks. So if your students like an electronic textbook, definitely check that out. So anyway, the rest of these questions are all very popular questions that we get. So we definitely want you to pay attention to all of these FAQs. Okay, is there an advantage to buying a laptop through the bookstore? Years ago, there used to be an advantage because years ago, our bookstore did not charge sales tax. That is no longer true. So they're really the advantage to buying a laptop on campus is it's handy because you're already on campus. So if you're on campus and if you want to buy a laptop on campus, that's absolutely fine. If you want to bring that laptop to the second floor of University Capital Center to have us help them connect to Eduroam, download Office, do all those things, that's kind of an advantage too, because if you want to do those things while you're on campus, you absolutely can, but you don't have to. If your student is at home, they got their laptop, they're trying to download Office, if they're having any difficulties, just call us. We will help them. So really, there's not a lot of advantages to buying a laptop on campus. What is your view about using an iPad to take notes during class lectures as opposed to a laptop? Tom, that's another excellent question because lots and lots of students do it. Students really like their tablets, and they like their tablets for that reason because it's not as necessarily as big as a laptop. It's easier to take a tablet with you wherever you go. I think you'll find out that a lot of students will take notes on iPads, any sort of tablet. So, again, that's personal preference. And if your student has a tablet, they can do that. That would be a reason to use a Chromebook. If they had a Chromebook in high school, they can definitely take notes on that. Chromebooks don't necessarily work with a lot of other of our services, but that's a good way to use a Chromebook. Okay, I like to leave these FAQ screens up just a little longer, just so you can look at these questions. And again, we want you to download this presentation so you have all of these links. So let's go to another screen of FAQs. How do I connect to University Wireless? Again, do not use UI Guest. Don't use the Guest Wireless. Connect to Eduroam. It means education roaming. It's for students with Hawk IDs. Can I still use Google Docs or Gmail? You absolutely can. There's absolutely no reason why you can't. The one thing I do recommend, students are required to check their University of Iowa email account through Microsoft 365. They are required to do that. If your student needs to communicate with their instructor or a faculty member, we recommend that they use their University of Iowa email account, because if your student emails an instructor from a Gmail account, your instructor might not necessarily know who that is. So we really recommend that they use their university email account for university business. Again, how do I change my HawkID password? That hawkid.uiowa.edu website. It's really handy. Students should know what that site is and how to use it. And at the bottom of this second FAQ screen, there are some available software titles that students will have access to as a University of Iowa student. We want them to be aware of those. LinkedIn Learning, if you had to go out and pay for that, it's very expensive. Students get access to that for free. So we definitely want them to be aware of all of the services that we provide for free. College is expensive, right? So definitely take advantage of anything that is provided for free. So again, here is a lot of other important links. So that help desk contact information, that's how they can find our email address, our phone number, and the link to our live chat. It also provides information on our hours. Top 5 tech tips. See that top 5 tech tips right there? Those are all things your students can do this summer from home. So downloading Office, setting up the Duo mobile app to use for two-step login, making sure that they know how to check their email, installing the Outlook app. Those are all things that we want your students to do this summer. So when they come to campus in August, they're ready and they are good to go. Where can I find the link to the presentation? Scott or Adrian, or maybe even Suzette, it's newstudents.uiowa.edu, correct? If there is a more specific URL, we should definitely share that.
That's right. That was the right URL, and I'll put it in the chat for folks to see.
Thank you, Suzette. Awesome. Okay. Any other questions? Because so basically to conclude, if you remember nothing from this presentation, if you're like, I have no idea who that person was or what they talked about, the one thing I want you to walk away with, our walk-in location, or even just the ITS help desk in general, calling, emailing, live chatting, coming to see us in person, that is the most important thing I want you to take away from this presentation, as we are here to help students with all of their devices, and like how to access services, how to download Microsoft 365. If they're trying to do something in Icon, Iowa Courses Online, and they're struggling with something in Icon, call us and we'll help them figure that out. So there is really no technology that is offered on campus that we can't help with. So we want them, if that's the only thing that you remember, I have done my job today. So what apps would make 16 gig of RAM highly recommended? So Nathan, that's a very good question. So the Office apps can take a lot of space, depending on any special software that your student might already have that they want to use. Also, 16 gigs of RAM can be very helpful if you just have a lot of things running at the same time. We have students that will bring their devices to campus or bring it to our walk-in area, and they have 50 tabs open and they haven't shut down anything and they haven't restarted their laptop in like months. So, that's another bit of advice. Make sure your students know how to update the operating system, how to update the apps. Tell them to restart their computer at least once a week. In my opinion, that's what the 16 gigs of RAM is really helpful with. Scott or Adrian, if you have anything you want to add to that, feel free to answer that. But if you agree with me, I just think it's really helpful to have 16 gigs of RAM when you are running a lot of apps at the same time. Okay, any other questions? I'm gonna keep our contact information up for just a minute. Suzette, is there anything that you would like to add?
Well, if we're ready, I can go ahead and share just a couple of closing things.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. As a reminder, this content can be accessed on Orientation Services YouTube page, which is found on our website, newstudents.uiowa.edu. And I added that link specifically to the webinars in the chat. Thank you all for taking the time to attend today's Topic Tuesday webinar on technology at Iowa. Following the conclusion of today's Topic Tuesday series, our next Tuesday webinar series will be on June 18th, and the theme is health and wellness, featuring recreational services and university counseling service. You can learn more about the series and register for the webinars on our website. Hope to see you all then, and go Hawks!
Thank you everyone for joining us today. We appreciate your attendance. We'll stay online for just another minute or two in case anyone else has any further questions. Correct, Emma. The video will be uploaded to YouTube so you can watch the recording of this if you want to watch it again or if you want to have your student watch it. Absolutely. Thank you for asking that. You have a wonderful day too, Emma. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us.